This episode is brought to you by mybookie.ag. Guys, Super Bowl Sunday. What the heck? It's the best time in NFL football because usually the rest of the season's meaningless until it comes down to the clinch. It's the clinch. Speaking of the clinch, last night I got on the Instagram stories. I tell you guys, what do? Hey, tune in. There's some good underdogs. Maybe like Damian Maya, who got the submission at 41 years old. I'm pretty sure he was the underdog. I told you guys, play it. Go watch the card. You win money, especially if you put in some cheddar on mybookie.ag. You guys want to know, when I think of a bookie, I think of an old, sweaty, fat guy sitting at a bar taking bets who, if you don't pay him, he snaps your fingers, breaks your thumbs, breaks your knees, whatever it is. Because you didn't pay up, dog. You got to pay up to play, bitch. MyBookie.ag is not that way. They're nice to you. They say, hey, you know what? Let's do this. So that way we'll always be friends. You put the money in first. I got the money. You win, I pay you the money back plus your winnings. You lose, though, you paid me already. I don't have to break your thumbs. Guys, play with MyBookie.ag right now. Right down in the description box, you guys will see a link. Go. Put some on the ponies. Are you going to bet that Tom Brady scores a rushing touchdown in the first quarter? You can. Because right now, if you put $50 for Tom Brady to score a rushing touchdown at any point in the game, you could win $5,000. That's what the odd line was when I looked. Also, when you sign up with MyBookie.ag, if you put $100 in or more, they match it 100%. You put $100 or less than $100, they match it 50%. So you're still getting free money. Still getting free play money. Guys, MyBookie.ag. Check them out. This episode is also brought to you by Soldier Socks. Guys, Soldier Socks, they're good friends of ours. They really do make the most comfortable socks out there in the game. Nike can't touch them. Under Armour ain't touching them. I know damn well Champion ain't touching them. Now that Champion's cool. Champion used to be a brand that you bought when you didn't have a whole lot of money, and you could get like a Champion shirt and shorts for like $5 at Walmart. Now these kids are trying to bring retro back, and now there are Champion jackets out there for $200, and they feel like you're wearing a trash bag. Not Soldier Socks. Soldier Socks is bringing the foot warmth with the comfort and the breathability, all those great things about socks. When you're trying to 1-2-1-2-1-2, that's your feet. For you non-military people, 1-2, that's how you march. Soldier Socks, speaking of the military, when you buy socks, when you buy a pair, they give a pair to a soldier, sailor, airman, somebody in the military who is in need. I can tell you, when I was deployed, it's always cool to get care packages. The simple shit that you would think of that, kind of don't cross your mind every day, you don't always have access to those things. Now, yeah, we have PXs and stuff where you can get Dr. Peppers and junk food and whatever, but when you get something like my favorite thing to get was like shirts from home. Things that say Columbus, Ohio from it. You want something that's local to your spot. So if you get Soldier Socks, you got them American foot warmers coming to you when you've been wearing the same 4 pairs of socks. You got 2 pairs of duty socks, 2 pairs of PT socks. You rock them bitches no matter what you're wearing. So you get you some fresh kicking toe mittens. Hey, SoldierSocks.com. You buy a pair, Soldier gets a pair. Toe mittens, I like that. SoldierSocks.com. Check them out.
You don't say that. So you're telling me there's a chance? Oh, Jesus, help.
Welcome back to this episode of the Road to Redemption podcast. Cam, we in this bitch. Got our new producer here. Thanks to our sponsors, we were able to afford a producer. DJ Daddy Bones is into his house. He's working over here on the computer, making sure that our Our audio and video is all working properly. He's sending me reminders when to restart the camera. My dude, DJ Daddy Bones in the he house. What's up, y'all? So I'm gonna start this one. We're gonna jump right into it. You guys just sat through a couple minutes worth of ads. I appreciate you supporting them. Please do. They bring you things like our badass producer, and they make this show possible. Please go support them. But let's start with the people who really matter, the listeners. We had a listener submitted topic that they wanted me to start off with. They specifically asked, will you start the episode off with this? And this is going to change my podcast a lot, because the person asked, what do you think about service dogs? This listener is hard of hearing, and I was like, you know what? I've never put captions on any of my videos, and the only thing it takes is one click of a button on YouTube. When I'm editing a video, I can edit the captions into them. It's not that hard. So that's something I'm going to be more conscious about doing. But they asked specifically, what do you think about service dogs and service animals? They said that I'm kind of getting a hard time from this lady in my gym, because every time I work out there, she's glaring at my service dog and me like, you know, like she's judging me. And here's what I'll say about that. That's giving an inch, taking a mile. That's what happened in that situation. Veterans especially always get tied into service animals, but there have been service animals long before veterans having them was a thing. People have always had seeing eye dogs, hearing assisting dogs. They've always had those things. When the veteran community kind of really became about service animals, and then you saw older people starting to carry around like these little fucking Shih Tzu whatever dogs, these little tiny things, and slap an emotional support animal on the vest and then fucking off around Walmart when this dog's not trained. That's why people get aggravated by service animals now. And also, you see things on the news all the time. Well, I took my daughter up to pet his dog, and his vest says no petting. Well, bitch, that's because he's working. He's not supposed to be hanging out. And I know you feel bad for him or whatever because he's a working dog. When he's off duty, he's off duty. We hang out with him. We're nice to him. He's still our dog. And you get a lot of that. You get a lot of the back and forth. People think you're doing it and abusing the system and whatever. But again, people ruin that. It was people that they just wanted to fucking bring their dogs out. So they bought a $20 vest on Amazon and slapped an emotional support sticker on it, and then, you know, your dog's pissing and shitting all over the Walmart. I can appreciate a service animal. One of my dogs is actually a trained emotional support dog. When we first got her, she could do everything. If you were starting to get upset, she would literally come up and bump your arm up and get her head under your arm, so she's kind of cuddling with you. She knew it all. She was with me real early when I stopped drinking. Those first couple weeks, I really needed her. So emotional support animals are a real thing. It's people that, like my dog, over time, we stopped working with her on her training. She doesn't do that kind of shit anymore. Could I still slap a vest on her and go walk around Walmart with her? Yes. But do I need to? No. No. And it was the people that maybe had a little bit of left and right in their story, not a hard, this is a service dog trained to do certain things, and this is my dog and I like having him around. There is that thing. In any community you're going to get that. When people get an inch, some are always going to take a mile. It's just the way it is. On any topic, really. So that's my thing on service animals, and to me, I think that if you genuinely find that your life is better when your animal's around, train them so that way you know that they're able to be out in public and that they're not causing a stir or causing anyone to be potentially in danger. Hey, I don't see a problem with it. But don't fake that it's a service animal when it's not. That's the other side of it too. The UFC card was really, really good last night. There was a lot of good fights. I'll talk about this quickly. Super Bowl's tonight. You guys already listened to the MyBookie ad, but you still have a few minutes. I think we kick off here in about an hour. So if you want to put those bets in, go check them out, mybookie.ag. Super Bowl, Pats, Rams. I think legitimately the Pats are going to win, but it's worth putting a 25 on the Rams just in case because they're going to be the underdog. I'm excited for this one, actually. Even though I don't have a dog in this fight, my team's not in the Super Bowl. When you bet and stuff, it makes it a little more fun. It makes it a little more fun. So there's that UFC card last night. Damian Maia, 41 years old, comes in and submits the dude. Jumped on this guy's back and just hung out there until we finally got the. I don't think he ended it with a rear naked choke. I think maybe he did. And it was dope. It was a dope submission. That dude Johnny Walker, he's a young fighter. He's kind of coming up quick in the ranks. He's got a lot of hype because he comes in. He knocked this dude out in 17 seconds. He almost got his ass disqualified because he tried to do like a hook kick. And it almost, if it would have landed, it would have landed to the back of dude's head, and that could really fuck you up. You're not allowed to do that. You're not allowed to take shots at the back of somebody's head because that's where you're most vulnerable. He almost did that, but it didn't land. The next shot he threw, knocked guy out. That was awesome. I'm not a big fan of the dancing. I think that shit is weird. I think it's too showy for me, but he does it and he keeps winning. So I think Johnny Walker's going to be a force to be reckoned with in the UFC until his flame goes out. Once his, whatever this cloud that he's riding on, once he starts getting tainted by the fight game, I think you see that enthusiasm drop and the holes in his game will get exposed. He knocks people out so fast, nobody's even really been able to see him fight. So that's just my prediction. I don't think I had any more on the UFC. Did I? Well, speaking of UFC, Conor and Khabib got their punishments for the brawl when they fought each other. Khabib jumps out of the octagon, tries to attack one of Conor's people. Conor turned around, sucker punched someone from Khabib's team. Khabib was seen as the instigator, so he was fined $500,000 and 9 months suspension unless he agreed to do some like anti-bullying campaigns. Then they would give him a 6 month suspension. Conor got $50,000 in fines in 6 months. So I think the whole thing was a little harsh. $50,000 to Conor ain't shit. They kind of tapped Khabib on his chin, was like, hey man, that was the first time you were really supposed to make money and you kind of fucked it up. Here we're taking, if you made anything, because I heard that they were getting their purses held. I'm sure Khabib walked out with a few mil still, so it is what it is. I'll just be happy to see Conor and Khabib back in the octagon fighting, hopefully in 2019. So there it is for sports. We got to all that. Okay, a lot of people, this was a mass listener. DJ Daddy Bones told me to be set. A lot of people were asking me to watch Fire Festival, so I did. It actually, I was really amused by it. One of my buddies, and who will remain nameless for the confidentiality of this story, we were talking about how we had an old boss who reminded us so much of the guy from Fire Festival, because this guy essentially scammed people out of money. He made it seem like he's really good at doing all this stuff and putting on these big flashy events, and it was all a hoax. He was taking money over here to fill buckets over here, and there was just, eventually there was more buckets over here than there was investors. And then he got exposed. Me and my buddy had a boss that was similar to that. He was running a cheap organization, acting like he's living the luxury life, and a lot of people try to warn him, like, hey man, that doesn't work, because you're projecting a life that you don't actually live, and you don't live it because you can't afford it. But you keep selling yourself as you do, so when one order comes in, not 2,000, it's not working out. And that's what happened at Fire Festival. It's just a piece of shit guy, honestly. I think that my old boss was a piece of shit guy, and I think that just not a good person. Didn't care to lie and cheat and steal to people to make the almighty dollar. And, as success kind of seemed like it was there, he got more distant from his family and started acting sketchy. It was weird. And that happened in Fire Festival and in personal life. So I think it's just, you're seeing a character flaw in business. I think when you support businesses or you support, time out, because I do want to say this, the best part of that movie was watching all these rich, spoiled fucking white kids lose all their money because you're fucking dumb and you invested like hundreds of thousands of your parents' money to go to this Fire Festival And then when they got there, they were sleeping in like inflatable tents. And they started looting, like within 3 hours of being on the island. All these privileged fucking white kids are running around grabbing pallets of toilet paper so nobody else can have any, and stacking up mattresses in their tents, and even though some people won't have a mattress to lay on. Like, they're just being fucking dicks. And it was really, really funny to watch the panic of a bunch of privileged fucking kids just get reality bitch slaps them across the face. That was the best part of that movie. I loved it. The dude talking about he was gonna chow down on another dude for some Aquafina was a game changer. That one I didn't see that one coming. I thought for sure he was gonna say like, hey, this Billy dude, he told me that I had to front the money. No, he said you had to go down there and get old nasty mouthed on another man. And the guy was gonna do it. If we're that low where we got people doing sexual acts for water, this whole event needs to get cut off at this point. What are we doing here? Something has gone awry. It's not working, right? We all believed in this mission, and now you got me doing this for some water? Abort mission. Abort mission. I'm out. That dude. And now they've turned him into a whole internet meme. That guy will never be able to get a job anywhere ever because the internet has turned him into the guy that does the nasty on people. I'll tell you what, man. I feel like for the past week of my life, I've lived back in like 2003, 2004. I feel like I'm living back in high school again, mentally, not as far as my maturity level, but like I've just been reminiscing a lot. On like old times, old people, old, stuff from when I was growing up. And I get a lot of people asking now. They're like, Cam, how did you do this? How did you create this thing that's forming now? What took you? People are starting to ask me questions like, what took you from here to the point where you made it? And I'm like, man, I haven't made anything yet. Like this podcast, my outlets, they don't fuel my income. They don't do that. But it's starting to get to a point where it could be very, very soon. And I want to take a second and say thank you, because that's for you guys. Your support and your sharing this show is what makes that possible. But yeah, we're really, really close. And so I had to look one day and I was like, God bless, man, the podcast had kind of a life-changing moment for us a few weeks ago, and it continues to get better. And I was like, damn. So when people ask me, what does it feel like to have made it? My goal a year ago was to be able to buy one of these with the money that I made from, one tea, or maybe buy an order of CBD with the extra money that I make from a little commission here, $10, $12 here, whatever. Maybe it might pay for my lunch tomorrow. I've gone to that, from that, to, hey, there's a potential that this could pay our house payment this month. So I'm like, man, is that making it? Or is my perception of what making it is, have I lost that? Because it's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing to have small goals, and then once you reach those goals, create new goals that are attainable. You can get there, but you also have to keep it realistic as well and go, okay, if this is my goal, it might take me this long to get here. So if I'm willing, right, I knew in the beginning that I was willing to do this podcast thing for the rest of my life, whether anyone listened or not. This is therapy for me. This is where I come to get my stuff out for the week. And it just so happens that a lot of people can connect to it. And when I do this, regardless, and then one day it buys me a yerba mate, and then the next day, maybe a week later, it pays for my lunch, and then, things go and they grow. So the kid asked me, what was the difference, and from you starting out to you making it? The answer I gave was, hey man, I don't feel like I've made it. I still have a lot of work I want to do, but what got me from a place of beginning to actually being in the game, and it usually sounds pretty cliche coming from people who try to be real motivational, but it's honestly, and I mean this honestly, consistency in what you do, be who you are, be the most authentic part of who you are, and record that shit. Know that you'll record it, because if it's what you love to do, where I'm talking specifically for people who want to be influencers and stuff like that, how do you do it, right? There's a certain aspect of playing the game, right? Production value, there's an essence to that. But none of that comes unless you love what you do, the platform that you have, whatever that is. If it's baking, if it's some people right now, it's a big thing to like stop being so mean to these network marketing schemes. I agree, some of them can be a little annoying, but that's that person's side hustle. It's what makes them happy, right? Now, there are some people's side hustles that will never make them shit. That's just the fact, because they won't do two things. Be real and be genuine no matter what. Even if you're changing who you are on a daily basis, if it's real, people will feel that. And be consistent. Let people know when they can expect to see you. Make yourself a part of their routine, and you have a listener. In podcasting, at least. And I see it. It's on days when I post an episode late, or post an episode too early, or post it maybe a little different than I posted the last one. You'll see a numbers will drop. And that's on me, because I wasn't consistent. So, and no matter, the first thing I always make sure that I'm consistent in is doing the next right thing. Right? You don't take anything, any business opportunity or whatever, you don't take it if it feels wrong. You don't entertain it just because of a dollar sign. You still have to do the right thing. Okay, check. I can check that one off. So be consistent in always doing the right thing. Be consistent in being genuine and authentic. If you just do that, it's good enough. Somebody out there with enough work will see that value. I have people right now that are begging me to kind of team up. And it's a thing now where I can get to go, hey man, this is what it would take for me to do that. I already acknowledge the fact I'm not losing anything if we choose not to work together. This is what it is. And I'm not talking about like the sponsors on this show, but anything in my life. I go, hey look, this is what my value is. This is what I know I can bring to the table. Here's proof of it. Here's evidence. This is what I'm asking. Again, if you walk, I lose nothing. And you notice when you have that kind of confidence, because you know what it is to have put the time and the consistency in it, and you know what your value is, then you start being confident enough to go, hey man, it's this or no deal. That confidence only comes from the consistency and all the things I told you before. Whether that's in your relationships, business, even in your Instagram. If just being a person, you should always strive to always do the next right thing, be authentic and genuine, and be persistent. And all three of those things. And it makes it to where you look back at life. Life's still not always easy. But you look back at life and you go, oh, this is the pattern that got me to where I am today, and that's also going to keep taking me where I want to go. My problem was I used to think that even being where I am today was not possible for me because I wasn't talented enough. I wasn't good enough. I'm not one of the special ones. I'm recording this podcast in the spare bedroom of my house that really behind the scenes is cramped. It's crowded. There's a Peloton bike in here. I never thought I'd be shit. So when I removed that mental block from myself and said, I know that one day I'm going to make it. And one day this will be my career, and this will pay for my family and it will provide for my family. And then once we get to there, I'm going to go across the country with it. And I'm going to sign up and start talking at TEDx events and all these different places that I can get on stage and speak to people. That's the next move. Once we can pay a car note or a house payment, then we keep climbing. But one day we're going to get there. As a family, as you guys listening and supporting the way that you do, again, none of it is possible without you guys. So that's what I want to encourage you guys to end all this talk off. I want to encourage you, when you have people in your life that you connect to, support them in their endeavors. support them, because when you support someone, you keep that fire going for somebody who's just trying to believe in themselves right now. In the beginning, that's the hardest thing. I credit everything that happens to me and my family that in a positive from all these social media outlets. I credit them to people that have been with me ride or die since the beginning of this channel, of all these channels. Because without y'all, I would have gave up 1,000 times. Without my wife and the support of my wife, man, all these people that talks about, oh, I did this on my own, it's just me, it's all me. No. None of what I do, none of everything you guys see comes without the sacrifice of my wife working. You guys can probably hear. My daughter's been crying the whole time I'm doing this. My wife believes in me, knows what the value of this show is, and is starting to see how things could work out. So she's like, hey man, get in there and do your podcast. You got a podcast to do. Let's go. Get your shit together. And that's cool. You have to have that. You have to have the support of everyone around you, and you have to ride with people that will never question whether or not the outcome that you believe is going to happen is going to happen. When you have people that legitimately ride with you, and that's what I've always had. I'm very fortunate. Through all the things in my life, I have always had people, friends, somebody that's like, hey man, no matter what, I'm riding with you. No matter what. Usually it was my friends. I had friends growing up that, I mean, man, they would literally do anything for me and I for them. And then after that, it was, my wife now. She was really the person that I felt that no matter what, she believed in me. And that was really refreshing. It was something I felt like I was missing since I was a kid. And that I really don't know anybody who could take this trip of trying to be a social media influencer or whatever, or trying to make a living off of social media. You don't do it without some support. You have a listening ear somewhere, because it's a ruthless game. It's a ruthless game mentally, and I've talked about it before. But like when you start putting hours into content and then you post them and they get no love, there's some days when that breaks your soul, because all the reasons as to why you started doing this are now coming to your head. Oh man, look at all the money I've invested in this. Look at all the time I've invested. I've stayed away from my kids. I've spent hours in front of a microphone. And now this video, it failed. And I spent hours working on it. And not being able to go home and talk to your loved ones about that makes it hard. If you're just sitting around living in that all the time, it makes it really tough. But it's when you go, you know what? This video didn't do well, but I've still got to post on Wednesday. And it's just the consistency. So I hope that helps. That was another question. You guys have been tuning in a lot recently, and it means a lot. You guys are turning in more fan submissions. You guys are contacting me more. You guys are all talking about the show more, and I cannot thank you enough. Seriously, it means the world to me. I wanted to shout out some of the goals that I have. I wanted to put these out because when you see the sponsors at the beginning of this show, I want you to know what you're supporting, right? So where I was talking about shitty business owners, I don't work with shitty business people. The only time you've ever seen a company pop up on my feed and then bounce off quick is because I saw a bunch of flaws that I had to end, right? Sometimes it took a long time. Sometimes it took years. And I gave people chances and this and that. I'm working with companies that I believe in, that I've looked into, that are legit, right? When you support those, you're supporting my goals to obviously provide for my family, take this thing across the world, talk to multiple people. But my goal is when I go across the world, I want to be able to pay for a single mom's mortgage for a year back in Columbus, Ohio. I want to find a guy in my home city of Columbus, Ohio, and pay off his back child support. That's the kind of stuff I'm trying to make That's how I want to make a difference with this podcast and this show and this movement. So that's what you guys are supporting. When you ride with me the way that y'all have been, you're gonna see an actual change start to be made in the world as this thing grows. So when you tell people what you're supporting, that's what it is. I'm here to support real people going through life because that's all I know. That's all I am. I'm a dude that's been knocked out by life at every turn possible. I'm starting to make my way through it. I've kind of started to navigate. Guys, I'm still fucked, okay? I still have my problems, and I still sometimes have bills that can't get paid. So let's not get it twisted that I'm playing some Instagram motivator right now. I'm not. But I'm saying I'm so close to seeing the light at the end of my sacrifice tunnel that I feel as empowered, motivated, and confident as I ever have in my entire life. And I remember talking to y'all on December 31st, talking about, I know this is going to be my year. All I got to do is change my mindset. And in that time, not even a whole 2 months, we're looking at life-changing shit. And that's all because of you guys. So I wanted to sit down and really evaluate, hey, who am I? If I get this opportunity, I'm always talking about self-assessment. If I get these opportunities and something comes through where this is game-changing, right? This pay for my house, pay for whatever. Well, I have to update, my first thought, I have to update everything through child support. You got to let them know when you make more money, stuff like that. So that way my daughter can live a better quality life. Then, anything that's left over, we start knocking out some bills. Okay, cool. When we get there, I have to put something back into the podcast to make it better. Because now we have people paying to make this better. After that, we reach more people. Yada, yada, yada. It grows. Then we can start going out to different cities and talking to people about life and doing Q&As and live podcasts. And then when I get to that point, then I can find someone and I can pay for their mortgage for a year or pay off their back child support. And then that all turns into a show where we get to meet those people, and that's what we're growing to. That's what I'm trying to do with this whole thing. And I know I'm probably being repetitive, but I just want to let y'all know, man, I appreciate the fact that y'all make it possible for that to even be in sight. So thank you. Let's see what else we got. I know a bunch of people wanted to go. What we got? We could go one that's, okay, I'll be able to figure this one out. The kind of vibe that I'm bringing y'all today. So I was thinking about being in the Matrix now. I was pretty relaxed when I wrote this. I had a good amount of CBD in me. I was pretty relaxed and just kind of thinking through my long process of thoughts. And I was thinking, for some reason, the Matrix came in as if, what if we lived in like a matrix where everything that we know and everything that we believe to be true is very structurally organized, almost like we live in a simulator, right? It's what I always thought of God was when I was younger. I imagined God up in the clouds playing a video game and I'm just his character, right? I just make the moves that he tells me to make. That's what I used to believe. And now I look at it more as, I do think that I think we have a higher power. I think it's very much proven that we have a molecule somewhere out there that a lot of scientists even call like the God molecule. It's something, a higher power, an energy of some sort that caused everything that we know all the way down to the Big Boom, the littlest, teeniest, tiniest point of fundamental proof that we have on the Big Bang. I think that's our God molecule. I think that both scientists and some religions are right. I think that there is something that created us all. But my question is, in the systems that we have in play, being, for us, it's the American government. We have a lot of countries that listen to this show, so whatever your government looks like, that's what you know. That would be your matrix, right? We don't know anything about that because we don't cross into your matrix. We stay in ours. So here in the United States, we see that Republicans are corrupted and Democrats are corrupt, and people that support the left act like this, people that support the right act like this. But we really don't interact with that craziness. It's all online, right? It's all online, and they're starting to prove now that like Russian bots are actually putting propaganda in people's timelines to make you feel a certain type of way. It seemingly gets more and more political, so that way you vote this way or that way in the polls. That's being proven that it's happening. And we as Americans still see it as this is you versus me, not us versus corruption, which is what it should be. So then I looked, and I'm like, well, what would be the easiest way to do that? Same thing in the army. Hearts and minds. You got to win hearts and minds. If you can win hearts and minds, you can win a war. So what do? We tell you exactly what you want to hear. No, dog. Your cell phone's going to be free. Complete, total, community funding. We pay for all your basic necessities. You get $3,500 a week or a month for every adult that lives in your house, no matter what. So your rent's paid, car note's paid, you got food in the house. And you could pay for your kids' daycare. We got that covered. Then the Republicans go, well, why? That's going to come out of my tax dollars. It's like, yeah, but that's pretty good. If our tax dollars are paying to put money back in people's pockets, okay, cool. And I know people are losing their mind. Like, Cam, that's not how, I forget what they call it. General communal funding, where they're trying to get it to where, like, every adult in America brings in, like, $3,500 a month from the government, so they would stop things like welfare and whatever. That's a pretty progressive idea. And the reason I think that they call that a progressive idea is because it lives a little outside the matrix. The matrix is what we've always known to be true, our perception of reality, which is, like I've talked about a million times, you're supposed to be a kid, grow up, get good grades, go to college, get a degree, get this good job, marry someone, and start having kids, retire. That's your matrix. That's what we were all pretty much grown up to believe was supposed to be what happened. When you start doing things like freelancing and becoming your own boss, they're saying more people will be their own boss by I think it was 2022. It'll be like 80% of the population will be their own boss by like 2030 or something crazy like that, because of all the freelance opportunities people can have and people can make money. And I think it's because we start asking ourselves questions like, with everything that I know today, from all the different parts of the world that I know it from, do psychiatrists have to go to school on prescription writing, but they don't have to go to school for meditation and maybe, meditation therapy, and they don't have to go to school for stuff like that, for natural causes. They have to learn how to write prescriptions. And they have to know how to inform this government entity that you struggled with this at this one time. I don't think that's right. I think you should have to take just as much meditation and yoga classes as you should prescription writing and pharmaceutical and how they react to your body. You shouldn't have to sit through sales labs of fucking what's one of the crazy Zoloft. You shouldn't have to sit there and listen to some dude sell Zoloft for 45 minutes throughout your day. You should take a 45-minute yoga class and figure out what that does to your psyche. Or hit the gym for 45 minutes and realize what that does to your mental and how it made you feel after suffering with depression. We need more of that shit, and now with all the information we have out there, people are starting to wake up to this, going, hey, our matrix, our perception of how things work is fucked up. It's still the best one that's out there. As Americans, we still have it the best. We're just saying our shit's fucked up. If we're going to be the best, we need to be the best. Right now, we're not being the best. There's a big incident going on right now. I don't remember the guy's name. Jesse something. He's the star of Entourage. He's a gay black man, young black male. He claimed that he was in Chicago shooting for Empire. He was out at 2 a.m. Two guys with MAGA stuff on beat his ass and called him all kinds of racist and homophobic things. Now, the Chicago police have searched all around this area that they believe this happened. There's no video camera evidence of it anywhere. And, oh, I forgot, they put a noose around his neck. When the police showed up, dude still had a noose on his neck, but now he's in his apartment. So he went all the way back to his apartment to call the police and left the noose on his neck. To me, to me, with all the evidence I have right now, I would call bullshit. I would say this is someone, an actor, being a little dramatic, trying to make some sort of political point. He says that they fucked him up. He had like a little tiny little scrape under his eye that you would get if you ate shit head first off your couch and got a rug burn on your eye. Remember like you used to when you were a kid? I'm the only one that fell on my fucking head when I was a kid. Okay, I see you go. I see. He had a little thing under his eye. Like, dude, I'll tell you what, back when we thought cutting and shit was cool, there were kids that used to take electric razors and they would try to put them on their skin because they thought that's what cutting themselves was, and all they had was a fucking bald spot. That's what that guy's little thing looked like. He looked like he pressed the razor on his skin a little too hard and created a fake little cut on his eye. Or you guys see that video of that crazy girl? Dude broke up with her and she's punching herself in the face and she's screaming, "Stop hitting me, stop hitting me," and she's on the phone with 911. Yo, people are wild out here. That's why I'm saying, I'm not definitively saying that this guy is full of it. I'm saying I could see it that he's being a little dramatic. Maybe something did happen to him and I think he's embellishing a little, if anything happened at all. Being in downtown Chicago and there's no video evidence of what you're talking about, it's a little sketchy, dog. It's a little sketchy. Any metropolitan area is highly video recorded. Why? It's where crime happens. Downtown, community areas, is where a lot of homeless people live, and a lot of drug addicts live. And I don't care what your major city is, they hang out, especially around 2 a.m. So I'm not saying this guy maybe didn't get his ass beat. Just saying, the chance of them being MAGA people and already had a noose tied up, I've never tied a noose, but it looks like it would take some time. It just don't play out. It don't play out. But you guys keep me informed. If anything else comes out and I'm a fucking asshole, I'll admit that I'm an asshole. I hope that did not happen to that man, and I believe enough in humanity that I don't think that whole event transpired. And guys, with that wraps us up for the Sunday night episode of the podcast. I'm going to go enjoy the Super Bowl with my lovely wife and my beautiful daughter. I'm going to go give my wife a break. She's been great. I've had to work all day long, pretty much, and she's been taking care of the baby. And sounds like she finally stopped crying out there. But yes, guys, please keep doing what you're doing. Please keep leaving the reviews. Please subscribe if you're listening to this. That means you made it to the end, which means you're a real one. Please subscribe, leave reviews, share it, tell people about it, let them know this is a place to come, hang out. We're going to keep growing. We're going to keep growing. We're going to keep getting better. I love y'all so much, and I thank you for everything that you do. Peace.